Good afternoon, I'm Sean Yao and this is One News Now. Both chambers of Congress have reconciled their respective versions of the Maharlika Investment Fund bill. We have Camille Samonte joining us from the Senate for an update. Hi Camille, good afternoon. What's the latest on the bicameral conference committee hearing?
Sean, the House of Representatives has accepted the Senate's version of the controversial Maharlika Investment Fund bill. The measure was earlier certified as urgent by President Marcos, which speeds up the approval of both chambers of Congress. After the Senate approved the bill early Wednesday, a bicameral conference committee hearing was held to reconcile conflicting provisions between the House's and Senate's versions. Among the major amendments introduced to the bill was the absolute prohibition of state pension and insurance funds from investing in the MIF. These include funds managed by the Government Service Insurance System, or GSIS, and the Social Security System, or SSS. The increase in capitalization of the Maharlika Investment Corporation, which will manage the MIF, will also be subject to Congress approval. The bill also prohibited the appointment of MIC members with pending judicial and administrative cases related to fraud, plunder, corrupt practices, money laundering, tax evasion, or any similar crimes involving misuse of money or breach of trust. Sean, both chambers of Congress are expected to ratify the measure today, and it will be sent to the Office of the President to enact the Maharlika Investment Fund. Sean?
Right, Camille, just one question. Is there any chance that the ratification will not happen today and instead happen tomorrow? Or is the BICAM sure to ratify by the end of the day?
Yes, Sean, according to Senate President Mig Zubiri, he said that since it's the last day of the session of the Senate, they will target to ratify the measure. Same in the House of Representatives before they have a session break. Sean?
All right, thank you so much for those updates. Camille Samonte reporting to us live from the Senate. Thank you, Camille. President Bongbong Marcos assures the public that the government has no intention of using state pension funds as seed money for the Maharlika Investment Fund. But the president did clarify that the state-run pension funds can decide to invest in the MIF at their own discretion. GSIS President and General Manager Wick Veloso had earlier said that discussions were made to ensure that pension funds will not be used for the MIF. The MIF will be built on with funds from the Land Bank, the Development Bank of the Philippines, and the national government. Funds from the GSIS, the SSS, PhilHealth, and Pag-ibig are prohibited from being used as seed money for the MIF.
We have no intention of using the pera, kukuha tayo ng pera ng pension fund. We will not use it as a seed fund. However, if a pension fund, which is what pension funds do, is they invest. If the pension fund decides that the Maharlika Fund is a good investment, it's up to them if they want to invest in it.
Speaking of the GSIS, President Marcos has ordered the GSIS to manage pension contributions in the planned reform of military and uniformed personnel. In a speech during the 86th anniversary celebration of the GSIS, Marcos Jr. noted that the agency's experience on the matter is invaluable. He also underscored the need to put in place an appropriate and strategic mechanism for the pension system to be functional. For his part, GSIS President Wick Veloso confirmed that the President has already consulted with them on his plans about the MUP. The GSIS will be investing the contributions for possible adjustments in the pension of military and other uniformed personnel.
The pension system of our military and uniformed personnel is such a monumental task. Hence, it is imperative that we establish the most appropriate and strategic mechanism to get it functioning, or at the very least to start to lay the foundations for the system that will function in the long run.
We're pausing for a quick break, but One News Now will be back with more stories after that. Keep it here.
Works and Sewerage System is asking Maynila to explain its water service interruption that started December last year. This as some parts of Las Piñas, Muntinlupa, Parañaque, Pasay and Cavite still have no water supply due to leak repair in its Putatan water treatment plant. The interruption comes even after MWSS slapped Maynilad with a 27 million peso fine in January because of the same issue.
Ngayon po ay ini-investigate po natin at pinag-aaralan natin kung lumampas na po yung 6 months na hindi po nila naayos. Pag hindi pa po nila maayos ay pwede po natin i-double po yung penalty. At ito po ay ma-rebate sa ating mga consumers.
To prevent similar incidents, the regulator is set to impose stricter penalties if Maynilad and Manila Water fail to comply with its service obligations. For 1 instead of 15 days, water concessionaires will now be given 3 days to implement water interruptions and fix water quality concerns. If not met within the given period, the MWSS may impose financial penalties on the companies to be given as rebates to affected customers.
Kasi dati po masyadong lax, mas maliit lang yung penalty. Ngayon po ay lalaki na yung penalty at tuloy-tuloy na po ito. At it's going to be per day. Ginawa po natin ito para maprotektahan ang interest ng ating mga consumers dahil po naagrabyado po talaga sila at hindi po sapat ang nakukuha nilang penalties.
MWSS, however, clarifies that lower allocation from Angat Dam and other force majeure reasons will exempt concessionaires from penalties. Both Maynilad and Manila Water welcome the development. They are now coordinating with the agency to fine-tune the regulations. Meanwhile, the MWSS is set to present these proposals in a public consultation next week, which are targeted to be implemented by June. Shaila Francisco, WR1 News.
Moving on now to the Court of Appeals, upholding its earlier decision, acquitting Rappler CEO Maria Ressa and Rappler Holdings Corporation of tax evasion. In its decision, the Court of Tax Appeals First Division dismissed the motion for reconsideration on lack of merit. Ressa and RHC were acquitted of 4 counts or 4 charges of tax evasion back in January 2023, which the journalist pleaded not guilty to. Let's now take a quick look at today's other top stories. The Investigation Bureau will be demolishing its old building in Taft Avenue, Manila, to give way for a new facility. For now, the NBI is housed at the VTech Tower along Quezon Avenue in Quezon City, with a new building set to open in 2026. It will cost around 2.5 billion pesos. The Transportation Department has designated Assistant Secretary Hector Villacorta as officer in charge of the Land Transportation Office, or LTO. Villacorta is the Transportation Department's Assistant Secretary for Communications and will concurrently serve as OIC of the LTO. He is replacing J.R. Tugade, whose resignation is effective on Thursday. President Bongbong Marcos graced the launch of 2 new museums that are part of the Free Malacanang Heritage Tours. First is the Teos Mansion in San Miguel, Manila, which features a crash course on all former Philippine presidents from Emilio Aguinaldo to Rodrigo Duterte. And just a few meters away from the Teos Mansion is the Bahay Ugnayan, where the tour focuses on the life and contributions of President Bongbong Marcos. One News Now will be back with the latest stories at 6:30 p.m. I'm Sean Yao. We are One News.